Namaste viewers, welcome to Gnanadevula channel. Let us continue with the story of this Saranga birds, how they survived in the forest fire. In the Khandava Dahana, when Agni, he engulfs the entire forest and then he starts consuming, he starts burning everything. So the story is told by Vaisampayana. He is sitting in the court of Janamejaya, grand court of Janamejaya, King Janamejaya, and he is narrating this story. Of course, the king was also very curious to know what happened to those small birds which had just given birth, just come out of their shell. So Vaisampayana, Janamejaya asked Vaisampayana, how did these four little Saranga birds survive the hot and fire of this Khandava forest when it was burning? Then this Vaisampayana smiles at him and then he begins the story. So he narrates the entire incident in the form of a story. Long ago, but when the earth was vibrant with life, forests teemed with creatures, lot of creatures were roaming in the forest very freely. Of course, there lived a saint named Mandapala. He was a great man with wisdom, known for his unmatched dedication to spiritual practices. His days were filled with a lot of meditation, penance. He was doing a lot of meditation, penance, and soon he left his body to go to Pitruloka, the realm, the loka of the ancestors. There he sees, and then there is no entry in certain, there are some restrictions to him, to Mandapalas in the Pitruloka. So Mandapala directly met Indra, the king of the gods, and Yama. They both were just sitting side by side and then bowing respectfully to Mandapala, respectfully to Indra, and then Yama. Mandapala asked him, "Oh Indra, I have devoted my entire life to penance. I have done whatever that is possible. I have never deviated from the dharma. But I find myself unfulfilled here. Why I have not allowed, I have not reached the higher realms of the joy and peace?" he asks him. Indra looks at him, he gazes at him and replies, "Mandapala, every soul is born, whoever is born with three runas, three debts. One is to the gods, the other one is to the sages, and the other one to the ancestors, the parents, grandparents, like this, ancestors. These debts, these runas, are discharged through worship, study of scriptures, and one most importantly is having children. Without children, you cannot rise to that level, you cannot ascend higher. So a son, Mandapala, saves a man from the terrible hell called Put, which is why a son is called as Putra. So you have to get children. Mandapala, he had in the previous birth, he had died without marriage and then he had no issues at all. He had died as a bachelor. So now, after listening to Indra, Mandapala ponders upon it very deeply. Children, he thought, how? Yes, I must have children. But he also realized that getting children is not that easy in the human birth, because he doesn't have time for that. See, now he has to be born as a human, he has to go through that cycle, then wait for another 25 years, you do not know, you should get married, then you should beget children. So Mandapala was thinking of a quick solution, how we can get some legacy, some children. Immediately it stuck to him birds, because birds, could have many offsprings in a very short time. They can have plenty of, they can keep their eggs, and then they can lay the eggs, and then the eggs would hatch within maximum 1 or 2 months, and then he could beget children through birds. So Mandapala, he decides to have children through the form of birds, through this bird, this thing. So Mandapala transforms himself into a Saranga bird, a beautiful bird, Saranga bird. And met a similar kind of female bird. He meets a female bird called as Jarita. Jarita is Mandapala's wife. While Mandapala was a bird, and then Jarita also a female bird. Together they mate, and they have 4 tiny eggs. Those eggs are kept nestled safely in their forest home. They build a small, nest there. Thus, Mandapala's wife Jarita, she has laid 4 eggs, and then they are now growing there. But even before these eggs hatch, these eggs, the little ones were gifted. They understood the sacred Vedas, because the lineage, Mandapala was a great learned scholar. He could just pour all his wisdom into those birds, small chicks, through his great tapasya. They understand the Vedas, they understand everything. This in the form of egg itself, before hatching, they've learnt all these things. Of course, but Mandapala wasn't one who was sticking around. He never had only Jarita. Before the chicks were born, or they were able to grow a little stronger, he flew off to live with another bird called Lapita, leaving Jarita to care for the young. So Jarita was left alone. Time passed, and Jarita looked after all these small eggs, and then she was looking after that. And the forest hummed with life. Again, it was going on. One day, just a few days, after that, Mandapala was flying over the Khandava forest. It's a very big forest, A lot of life over there, all kinds of animals, all kinds of birds, all kinds of creatures were living there. This Mandapala is flying over this Khandava forest with Lapita, that is the second, you may call it second wife, whatever it is. They both are going, and then he spotted a very blazing, very flaming figure on the horizon. He could immediately understand that it was Agni, the god of fire. Agni had been weakened over time and sought to regain his strength by consuming the entire Khandava forest in flames. So as per the advice of the Brahma, he wanted to burn the entire forest and then get energized. So now Mandapala understood this. Immediately, he could figure it out that Agni is going to engulf the entire forest area, and then he will consume all the creatures, all the animals, all the birds, everything there. So now Mandapala, his heart started beating harder. My children, he thought, with a lot of panic, they are in this forest. Without hesitation, he went to Agni. Straight away, he went to Agni. because he had to protect these eggs. Only after those eggs hatched and they become birds, he could get this moksha, or he could enter this Swarga. So immediately Mandapala went to Agni. He spoke with very urgent, very quickly, he, oh Agni, you are the eternal. He just praised Agni. You are a great eternal flame and carries the offerings of the world to the heavens. You are the Havya Vahana. Havya means whatever dravya that is being given to the, it is to be given to the gods, it would go through Vahana, vehicle who would carry all this havis. So he praises him. You are the breath of life. Without you, nothing can live in this world. The light of the stars and the energy that sustains the cosmos, I bow to you. He just praises Lord Agni. Now Agni is also, who will not, somebody praises you, who will not be pleased? So even Agni also, he was touched by Mandapala's very kind and very sincere words which were uttered to him. Then Agni asked Mandapala, what do you wish? Mandapala, speak and I will grant it. You ask anything, I will grant it. With the desperation in his voice, Mandapala pleaded to Agni, O Agni, I have 4 tiny children in the Khandava forest. Very small birds I have in the forest. That I think they are still yet to hatch or they are just young. When you burn it, I beg you, please spare their lives. You please don't burn those 4 of my kids. Agni was very pleased, He smiled very gently. He said, your devotion to me is admirable. You have praised me so much. I promise that I will not harm your children. No harm will be done to your children. Thus saying, the fire began and it moved, the Agni moved. The flames roared through the forest, consuming trees, wildlife in its path. Whatever came in its path, it used to burn and then keep moving ahead. The sky turned completely crimson as smoke rose high. Smoke from the burning forest. Jarita, however, was prepared. Jarita, the wife of Mandapala, and then who had these 4 small chicks, She also started preparing herself to, protect these chicks. She had hidden her chicks deep in a hollow tree. There she had kept these birds, shielding them from her wings. She was just trying to protect her. Then the heat was intense, but Agni kept his word. Not a single flame touched these 4 little Saranga birds. It did not give any effect to those Saranga birds. When the fire died down, when the fire came down, the forest was a wasteland, smoldering wasteland. But amidst the ashes, Jarita emerged from her chicks unharmed. Lot of ash, lot of heat, everything. From there, these small chicks, 4 chicks, they came up. Mandapala's heart was also swelled with relief and gratitude for Agni, gratitude for the gods. So, Vaisampayana he paused for a small time, then concluded, and that, dear king, is how the 4 Saranga birds survived the fiery wrath of Agni, saved by the cleverness of their father and the grace of the god of fire, that is Agni. Now King Janamejaya listens to this story. He leans back, smiling. What a wonderful story. What a story of love. What a story of courage. What a story of divine promise by Agni. And it reminds us that even the smallest lives matter and the gods honored through devotion. When somebody is devoted intensely to God, he honors all these things. And so the story of the Saranga birds and their miraculous escape becomes a very favorite story. It has been told and retold for generations, and enchanting listeners with its message of hope, wisdom, and the power of parental love. Viewers, with this story of Janamejaya, Janamejaya telling Vaisampayana, telling Janamejaya the story of this Mandapala who has turned himself to a bird, and then his 4 small chicks who are protected by Agni, who are not harmed by Agni. We will conclude this episode. I hope the story was quite interesting. Then, as a matter of your this thing, please, I request you to please like, share, and then subscribe to my channel. Thank you, viewers.